Namaste Galactic family, welcome back to my channel Indigo Angel. Come on into this dimension, guys. I hope that you use the portal on the way in the door. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notifications bell so you can continue to receive my messages, and like, comment, and share this video so others can find out about my work. So I would like to continue to expand off of the 222 higher humanity codes that are coming in as we are going into the February 22nd, 2022 portal. Astrologically and numerologically speaking, February 22nd, 2022 is bringing forth that higher humanitarian code that lives within the white ray, the crystal rays, the double liquid diamond crystals. And essentially, that's what's being upgraded at this time. We are having a major grid expansion at this time. So what I'm going to be presenting to you guys today is the Swan grid update. And you can see I have the Swan grid template up here on the screen for you guys, which this is a template that is a representation of a merging and a unification of bloodlines through the white ray, the crystal, and the double diamond liquid plasma rays. So this really truly represents new grid templates that are actually being installed in everyone's body through these ultra frequencies, through these very, very high light, atomic and photonic light spectrum. And essentially, this one here represents the unification coming through a tetramorphic union of the four living creatures, and not just the four living creatures, right? The four living creatures represent kind of the foundation within that primordial expansion, but it extends much more universally, which I'm going to explain more. You can find the four living creatures in the book of Ezekiel. And in that book, it's representing the merging of that pillaric, because they're all pillars, so I say pillaric, I'm making up new words here, pillaric identity into a single figure. It's the merging into one figure. So it's creating the perfected eternal human, or the androgynous spirit body in the crystal body of the earth. So it's not just within the living four creatures, like I just said, but it's that unification that happens within it all, that transitional primordial emanations that express itself through the frequency of the white ray. So what I mean by that is the swan is the being of the swan. This is the final transformation of the cosmic serpent. This is the evolution from Hydra to Cygnusian, as they are oppositional in the cosmology. So this expansion of this particular grid, which is an expansion of the dove grid at a much more higher light spectrum, okay? This is not a hijacked template. Okay, this is the post-hijacking of the dove, essentially. And from Hydra to Cygnusis, they are oppositional cosmology. So this is taking us from the Dark Mother templates, okay, that are fighting through the thick of the over 2,000 years soul fragmentation of the Dark Mother templates, to the full embodied white mother expression of the swan. And that is Cygnus. Cygnus representing the mother of the cosmic egg. The cracking of that shell ultimately will allow this light to embody into the Earth's matrix system. But that's why the swan, as you can see here in this picture, and also, you know what a swan looks like, right? Swans have that very long neck. It's very similar to the serpent body, because what was once belly to belly with the earth in serpent form, okay, this is now trekking those densities of the Black Mother, and it's now transcended into its full liberation, and has taken flight. So that's why the swans have long necks, is because they are a primordial transformation of the serpent, essentially going from, like I said, the Dark Mother to the light. So this grid template here also represents the 144,000, and it's an exaltation of the dove fully expanded, free of that hijacking, and so much more that we're actually going to dive into in this update. And just so you guys know, you can find this blueprint to this map we are going to be talking about today on my Patreon. So if you want to go to patreon.com/indigo angel and join my Patreon, my lowest tier is $11.11 a month, all the way to $44.44 a month, depending on how much you want to be involved in the services that I do offer on Patreon. But essentially, you can find this template there. And if you are a Patreon, just for my Patrons, I just want to say that I will send you a PDF copy of this right to your email. If you want it, I will send you one. Just email me and let me know that you would like a copy of this Swan template, as we may be working on this going future in some of our group grid sessions that we are doing. And if you would like to join those group grid sessions, please join my Patreon. Again, you can get into the group grid sessions at my lowest tier, $11.11 a month. So, light matrices in the Earth's galactic holographic blueprint, and what is now expanding into the ultra light matrices, into the liquid white double diamond templates. Okay, I'm saying white and higher frequencies dimensionally. So this is really bringing forward everything above the 12D. Okay, going to the 24 to 48 strands of DNA activations into the 22 chakra dimensional system, basically. So this is various advanced ascension mechanics, and essentially, but it's not anything that is representing notoriety, superiority. There is no, basis of higher or lower here. It just is an expression that takes us into the superatomic, super quantum cognitive aspects of your spirituality. So for some, you're embodying this, for some you're activating to this, some you are, this is very outside of you and it's still coming within you. For some of you, you're already there, and it's not a race. Everybody's at a different level of ascension, and that's why I don't even like to put it in these terms, but I have to have, references for you to be able to perceive the spectrum in which this energy exists, basically, right? So this is the template that on a much future perspective. So if I think about the release of the dove and everything that I talked about on my last dove grid update, I was talking about that transformation and that hijacking release to be happening in the next 200 years. What you're seeing here with the Swan, this is something I liken to maybe 400 years in the future. This will be the template that does represent aspects of the new earth. And a lot of this energy is pulling from now, integrating from the new earth. But there's a lot of things that are happening as we find our way into these probabilities of these super spiritual, cosmic, planetary grid matrices, essentially. So these templates, these are fueling the everlasting freedom convoys spreading across the globe, right? There's all kinds of smear campaigns that are going on with that as well. A lot of the darkness is trying to insert itself back into what is happening here, and that's fine. But we see you here in the light, and we're just kind of letting you know that it's still not going to stop the overall evolution of what these things mean globally, right? So for those that are saying that the cabal funded this and is trying to discredit all of the freedom convoy aspects of things, sure, some of that may be true, some of it may not be true, but the truth is that there is an everlasting freedom convoy that is spreading across the globe, whether those who are holding darkness or those that are holding light want to acknowledge it or not. It's not just any longer in Canada, but it's now in the US, it's in Australia, it's in New Zealand, it's in the UK, and we are starting to watch the diabolical Willy Wonka starting to feel the pressure of millions who are holding freedom codes, right? Freedom genetics. And so the mandates are slowly starting to roll back and ease up just a little bit, because this surgence of this frequency. So as each one continues to feel the upgrades of these light grids, the liberation and freedom codes, the year 2022 is all about, right? We will be this will be about a constant pressure to keep stripping these layers away. And so what happens is it will ignite one by one as each one rehabilitates their ability to allow light back into the dark spaces. And it's like being in a dark room for a long time. Your eyes have to adjust to the new light. They have to adjust to the exposure, to the new codes in their DNA. The geometry is going to collapse down. The DNA is going to completely re-encode itself in an entirely new frequency. So this is a process, and it's the ability basically to see more again. It's a feeling of new stability or a new generated hope and harmony and possibility, and it's a regaining of a new perspective. And that's what's happening for millions right now, millions across the globe as these light matrices continue to expand. So the consistent message being, what I have seen is just don't forget that we co-create this reality together here on Earth. So everybody's light on this earth, everybody's heart, everybody's feelings, everybody's emotions, everybody's hope, and everybody's freedom ultimately matters here. And we can't forget that as guardians, as those of us who have stepped into those parental roles on the earth, right, of helping others, of humanitarian mission, we have to remember it's our responsibility here to turn the light on in others. And that's ultimately how it keeps rolling and flowing into the next and into the next. So last week, I did go into the Dove Grid template and the expansion of the freedom, peace, and liberation codes. That was coming through the 222 codes, the higher humanitarian codes. That began 2022 into the future manifestation of the year 2200, the new Lemurian prophecy. Now, I recommend going and watching my previous video if you want more information on what the new Lemurian prophecy is going to look like. It's going to be where the wires recede and kind of shift, and the equatorial plane changes and shifts, the North Pole star changes and shift, and this is going to cause landmass to again rise back up that wasn't there before, bringing forth new Lemurian landmass essentially in many locations in the Pacific and along the west side of South America and North America, bringing forth landmass called the Dove Islands, bringing forth Harmony Islands, basically bays of peace. Things are going to collapse in as per seen on the I Am America maps, IamAmerica.com with Lori Adele Toy's work. So highly recommend checking that out. But essentially, I need to kind of go back here and recap a little bit on the Dove Grid quickly before we go full on into the Swan. So let me go ahead and switch my screen share. Now you guys see this central line on the Dove here that runs through Canada, through United States, and down through Mexico, through the Yucatan Peninsula area. So basically with the Freedom Convoy, you have the sweeping of light going from the west side to the east side of Canada, starting with the flanks of the wings. That is a part of the prophecy, but essentially you see this central line here that's running down the center of the dove. This is the central point of this particular light grid. This is running through Winnipeg. Okay, so I believe Winnipeg is about right here. And this is important because this light encoding is sweeping and removing the Masonic symbolism of the Parliament buildings. So the Winnipeg Parliament building holds what is called the pool of the black star. So inside the Parliament building, it has a black granite floor that they hold underneath a copper roof. It's an accumulative pit of rot that is fed from the banking institutions like BlackRock and Vanguard. It is capped with the pharaonic sexualized energy, where they are also actually keeping another version of Medusa's head here in this Parliament building, similarly to how the Vatican does underneath their deep layers of their vaulted pain and suffering down underneath the Vatican. And why they do this, and this is what I'm starting to see, and I almost want to go through like an entire collective search for, how many Parliament buildings are actually holding Medusa heads. How extensive is the suppression and the desire and the need to control this energy in our Parliament buildings? What is this really about? What I see is it's their way of holding the Virgin Mary captive. I had seen through remote view that in the Vatican, the Virgin Mary was tied up in red ropes. It's their way of demonizing the feminine, demonizing the Black Madonna, and keeping that Lilith energy at bay as they hold this as evil. They feel that this is evil, and so if they can suppress the symbolism, they can basically hold the destruction codes that they feel come through the Medusa, essentially. With the 222 codes, this is a pivotal degree marker in the breakthrough of these particular prophecies, freeing the Medusa, okay, freeing the Virgin Mary, all of the divine feminine lineages of the Fleur de Lis, essentially. So the Fleur de Lis actually represents Medusa's energy. It represents Mother Mary's energy. It also represents the Mary Magdalene bloodline. So the Hydras, the Pleiadians, the Lyrans, the Cygnusians, and those that are basically encoded to the Isis temples in France. Okay, so with this sweeping of the dove energy, this is an Isis awakening. And these are a part of the processes of the expansion of that white ray that will begin to strip that demonic symbolism out of the Parliament buildings, out of the temples, out of the churches, out of the mosques, out of their dark cubes, their black cubes. It's this sweeping from the central point of the dove here, and this vertical horizontal line that runs through the center of the dove. Okay, this one here. This is actually, so there's a lot of running ley lines that are running through all this, and all of this geometry within this dove matters. All of these locations that are encircled in these geometries matter. It's all really relative to where the golden light cities are going to activate. Like these circular spheres here that emanate out and around that look like they could, just represent configurations within the dove itself. These are waves, ripple waves of those light cities that are going to manifest themselves. But with this clearing of this Medusa, Virgin Mary energy that's running down the central vertical ley line of the dove, this one will follow the ley lines from the Devil's Tower as it comes down into the U.S., all the way down to Washington, D.C., and ultimately across the Atlantic to Azores, Spain, and also ultimately to Italy, to Rome. And it will free up more of the divine feminine energy and blockages in the grids. Again, because what this is held down with is those J-seal, pylon, selenite rods that are holding this, that is what they ultimately wanted to suppress, was the feminine energy. That's why all the J seals are on the left side of the body, is to hold captive that divine feminine template. Okay, so because remember too, the expansion of the dove will happen in steps. The waves of the dove awakening will happen in phases of things that will take place. Some of them simultaneously, some of them cyclically. It will be done in a light order that justifies the presentation of the expansion of the dove to its unification of the bloodlines into the swan, from the heart and dormancy in North America to expanding into the world according to the unfolding prophecy. So first, the dove will expand through the white lion grid. As the white lion is its protector, it can flourish through this network and find its way into places of deep darkness, detriment, despair, prophesized pain, and suffering by having the beast of cosmic rishis as its shield. Again, all of this unaffiliated to the crucifixion, persecution, all of this, okay? But this will send signals to the Golden Gate in Jerusalem. Okay, so with the expansion of the swan, there will be activation in the Golden Gate in Jerusalem. I have been predicting for a really, really long time on my channel. I'm sure some of you have probably heard me say it a few times, especially within some of my Anunnaki updates, was that I had been predicting that a divine feminine awakening Messiah, like a divine feminine Messiah, would walk through the Golden Gate. Okay, this consciousness of the divine feminine rising would come through that gate. But first, the energetic blockages on the Golden Gate in Jerusalem have to be alleviated, which right now they are heavily, heavily, heavily blocked by Aquilan Anunnaki forces. It will also continue to expand from the white dragons, the white eagles, and the white rays of man through the four pillars of man. This will come as a rising of the protector of the Divine Mother, the Sophianic Grail, freeing the Medusas, the Virgin Mary, the Mary Magdalenes, the Isis temples in France. You can see this awakening through the King Arthur templates, through the white dragon lineages. The purity rays of the divine masculine are also beginning to rise up in their sovereignty. And then, of course, the next phases come in as guardianship comes forward, and the parental roles and the supporter roles of Earth, those that hold that sustainability within them, will come and start to step forward. The guardians will come as fully embodied in human form to eliminate the clones. They come to heal the cracks in creation. And then the guardians will also move on to heal the hybridization traumas, the Anunnaki hybrids, the Draco Anunnaki hybrids, Nephilim hybrids, Zeta hybrid traumas, healing all alien hybrid traumas, period. Which we are going to get in more detail today. We're going to talk about that some more, because the healing of this, of the hybridization traumas, this you'll see this mostly through the Swan Grid holographic templating. This is where this will really be fully sustainable, because the light matrix will be being fully installed. So the processes of the Dove Grid expansion will come through all of these activations, the demonic encodings getting stripped from the symbolism. It will come off sacred sites, Statue of Liberty, restoring sacred sites. Lemurian templating will activate. Also will continue to shift into new locations as well. The entire old universal Stargate system, even the chakra systems on the earth, are going to be relocating. That's something that I don't have the chakra system locations, but they will be moving. Sacred sites also will be moving and shifting. There will be a lot of reformation as the new earth presents itself. And then again, through these processes, then global decoding of the selenite rods that keep the pylon network of the planetary J seals holding the fabrics of the dove contained to North America under the hijacking and siphoning will be released. And those swan codes will surge through to the planetary Cygnus cross, where it will emanate from 4 specific locations. So I'm just going to go back to my other map because I really want to get off of the dove and now dive into the swan. Okay, so you can see here on the map, there are 4 charted locations here. So what this is here is these are the 4 locations where the swan will ultimately emanate from and through that 30-degree north horizontal ley line, because it will be a 30-degree north horizontal ley line clearing, as that ley line holds the dominant accumulative majority of the PDSs, the patriarchal demon seeds in the earth. Okay, so this will ultimately expand from these 4 particular locations. And those locations are the Cygnus Stargate on the Earth, which is the planetary northern cross. Okay, this is Göbekli Tepe, right up at the top. Then over to the east side is Abadan, Iran, and this is a Lyran Stargate. So that will be bringing forth the Lyran codes. And then also Giza. Okay, this is a solar Draco Regulus gate system. And then down at the bottom, we have Mecca, which is running the southern activation of this, which is an Aquilan gate site. Okay, so all 4 of these gate sites have to come into activation, and then the expansion of the swan activates through this and expands into the globe. Okay, and so this is very important because this is the collective pinnacle point of the total release of global crucifixion wounds, completely restoring the 7th through the 10th dimensional planetary monadic structures. Now, within the spheres of the Dove Cities of Light, those will also come online as well, and they will be simultaneous to the Swan Grid, the Stations of Light Command. All of these cities of light will be unified in the Double Diamond Heart Cosmic Codex simultaneously with the Swan. Now, on a higher parallel level, this ultimately is coming from the future. It's drawing energy from the future within the inner Earth. And also within the parallel probabilities of those as they network to configure at an atomic state of collective consciousness through the collective universal fields of the universal tree of life to build those reality forms. And also drawing this and pulling this from the crystal seas. The crystal seas are being unlocked basically from the polar regions, and those are also adding to the contribution of the future Earth in 2200, which would be coming through the most expanded form of this light matrix. The highest template that we are running right now in the Earth's fields is the Swan. So we will see a spiritual transformation of this radial diversity within the Dove grid to expand the Swan, and this expansion begins in the purity of the white ray. So the process of this expansion begins in the white ray. So I'm going to dive into talking about the white ray. So there are many different diversifications of primordial expression through the white ray. You have the dove, you have the dragon, you have the lion, you have the white eagle, you have the swan, you have the angelic human, which is that macro version of the dove. The swan is the macro version of the dove. These united systems are what will release of the hijacking of the dove that will entail and allow these systems to expand. Ultimately, this represents a unification of bloodlines in human form, right? All of this has to happen biologically, okay, which is a post-secondary position as it's happening planetarily. Everything is reversed and inverted, but it will follow that bridging and unity of the bloodline. So this will be bringing together warrior tribes, tribes of light and sound, geometry and mathematics. Particular grail lines will activate to the call. Magi grail lines, Melchizedek grail lines, Merovingian grail lines, Essene grail lines, serpent cults, okay? Lemurian star children and crystallized holders, violet flame holders, Pleiadians, starseeds, indigos, indigenous. They will unite. Those encoded to the 12 tribal races and seedings, and the 144,000 come online. Biblically speaking, these are the servants of the divine with the sole purpose of building the crystal cathedrals, the ones that are capable of building the golden cities of light. So there does, energetically speaking, have to be a reclaiming of the Temple Mount, which comes through those 4 locations. That the Temple Mount is actually right in between. You can kind of see this little black triangle here. You can see the black triangle here that's in between the north and the west gate, between the Cygnus and the Draco Regulus solar gate system. Okay, so it kind of shows you the power struggle between the gate. It's between those 144,000 that are holding the Cygnusian templates and those that are encoded to the Regulan and the Draco and the solar gates. Okay, it's you can see the war between the Golden Gate system, basically. What has to happen is there has to be a returning of the Emerald Order to the earth. Okay, it has to be unbound by the dogmatic and Templar holdings. So each Grail line that will activate to the call of the 144 will be holding a different activation key, essentially to an aspect of the white ray, an expansion effort of the dove, ultimately to the swan. Each biblical tribe can even hold a missing puzzle piece to this. So when I reference things biblically, just know that it's symbolic to the meaning and gives reflection to the greater idealism, but does not bind the concept to the institutions of those books. Okay, we have to keep our minds open to all of the possibilities when interpreting spiritual energy, these kinds of references and works. So you can come to understand all of this better through understanding the basis of simply just the creational rays. This itself is just bringing things back to the purity of that source energy, going back to the light energy of that. So this goes back to the arcing of rays, which ultimately build the future golden light cities on the earth. It all originates from light and sound and geometry and mathematics through the galactic web, through the cosmic wave belts, from the great central sun to our solar sun to the Earth's core, because we are technically living on a sun encased in a dark matter body. At the core of our being, we are the sun. We are not darkness at the core of who we are. Okay, and this is the message that's going through everything that's happening global right now. People have to remember, no matter how dark one is perceived to be, no matter how dark one may even want to become or pursue, right? Because there are, let's face it, a lot of beings on this earth that are consciously pursuing Satanism and Luciferian acts. Okay? They're okay with it. But the truth is, biologically, at their core, they will always be light. Okay, because planetary forces are greater than human forces, because we are a divine replica of our internal sun, of the internal sun of the earth. The earth's core is light. Okay, it's the triplicity sun illumination, and that's really what we are. This represents the Trinity wave, the Trinity flame, but the triplicity of the sun illumination is that connection from the cosmic wave belts, from the great central sun to our solar sun to the Earth's core sun. These are the ray forces. These are ray forces that control many human evolutionary aspects and their distribution arc through the triplicity of our living systems. These galactic streams control our lifespans, memory function, spiritual knowledge, individual and planetary Akashic records. They control radial diversity, genetic galactic design, archetypes, and architecture. So this is why they can actually control the reinstallation of freedom genetics. They control the guiding light of your heart. They ultimately build the light and sound grids in the earth, matter, and spiritual body. The white ray is anchored through the sun of Venus. Venus has a sun, okay? And its cosmic attributes are of the purity of the divine feminine. And this is what comes through so passionately and so dominantly. And it was what is coming through right now. This is what lives within the dove to the expansion of the swan. It's going to bring the earth, the peace, harmony, and freedom codes. It is uplifting. It is strong. It is graceful. It is creative, expansive, pure, charming, beautiful. It melts the ice off the frozen hearts and the glaciers in the Arctics, and it creates the basis of those crystal seas. So we have a beginning spark of this right now because we are watching prophecy unfold in real time. We have the 2-2-2-2 February 22nd, 2022 Stellar Gate alignment portal coming up. That's going to highlight those higher humanitarian codes, bringing through the double diamond liquid crystal templates. And this day is also heightened and activated because this is the day of the Pluto return. This is when it begins. This is really representing a cosmic rebirthing, global, planetary, and particularly within the United States, because the US is feeling this Pluto return the most, because it's been 248 years, which is the full cycle of Pluto. This is marking the anniversary of the U.S. foundation of 1776. So the United States will be getting a shadow clearing and release from these powerful alignments. And what do you think that means? That means an official releasing of the J seals. Is this what this means? Or at least some pressure off of those selenite rods that are held down, the hijacking of the dove. I do feel that these alignments are building momentum towards this. I know many of you have been hearing about a prophesized solar flash event that is coming and the activation of the great spiritual awakening on earth. It's also been seen as the rapture, soul harvest, Armageddon, or Judgment Day that has been destined to happen sometime over the next decade once a sufficient mass of humanity has awakened and has breached a critical threshold in levels of consciousness. So this would be a massive burst of cosmic waves that will be transmitted from the central sun, Sagittarius A, the black hole at the center of our galaxy, through our sun, into that solar triplicity we just talked about, the central sun, solar sun, into the Earth's center sun, into the core of the Earth. It will appear on Earth as milky, warm, liquid light, diamond light. And humans, divine souls, divine beings that are ready spiritually, energetically, when we get this upgrade of this great prophesized solar flash, they will experience a near instant evolution and transmutation of the two-strand double helix DNA carbon-based life form into crystalline life form, having a light body with multiple additional 12 DNA strands activated, and then will ascend to fifth dimensional Earth in their physical bodies. Okay, that's kind of the idealism of all this and the prophecy of this. But what if I told you something may be coming that will actually reassemble beyond that, the 24 to 48 strands of DNA, activating the 22 chakra system and above? That is what this Swan grid template represents. It represents something even greater than the solar flash. Okay, this will reconstruct the entire collective soul matrix by re-encoding the entire inner Earth sun in double diamond light. The Swan grid templating is the template that will come from this. So indigo 144,000 rebirthing activating the 144 harmonics in the earth, anchoring the double diamond light sun body. That's basically the diamond crystal star matrix of the internal sun. That's why you see here in the center of the sun, you see this diamond, and then you see the expansion of the diamond light that's coming from the heart of Africa, the heart of the Swan. And it's emanating from the Swan, from the 7 higher harmonic universes. That is basically a portal to the next universe. That means that during this time of great Lemurian revival transition, we are opening up portals to not only future Tara and integrating from that place, but we're also opening up the next harmonic universes into the Laniakea systems that will activate the 144,000, because these templates start right at the base frequency of the 144,000 and above. So unless you are holding the base grid templating to the dove, to the white ray, and to beginning into the Swan, you're not going to receive this upgrade. You will not go to the new earth, basically. So many people are kind of on a different level and a different wave spectrum within where they are with this. For some, it will be attainment. For some, it will be new installation. For some, it's going to be graduation. Okay. And for some, it will be active mission. They will be active in mission. But either way, baseline for the Swan grid templating is 144,000 earth grid templating and above. It will come when the emerald crystals are activated in the earth's crystal caverns, the sapphire crystals, the aqua aura crystals, the rare and unique gems, the malachites, the moldavites. It will begin to grow that Sophianic flowering plasma chakras, which will upgrade all of the biological grids. Everything below these fields, it's going to bring them up into a consistent upward motion and shedding of density. Possibly, like I said, bringing forth the third Messiah and activate the Golden Gate in Jerusalem and obliterate all the blockages on this gate system. So this is the actual house and crystal star design that all star seeds on this earth achieve to embody, that eternal cosmic Christos plasma light. It comes from Cygnus, okay? This is free of crucifixion, free of persecution, free of stigmata, free of the victors of Christ, and full rehabilitation of the majority of the Anunnaki collective. That's what's going to happen. Now, how is this going to happen, right? This may come through a stellar cosmic supernova gamma wave from 2 different incidences in Alpha Cygnus, reaching our Earth body by July 2022. So this year. So meaning that there were solar explosions in Cygnus and Alpha Cygnus that have gamma rays that through the light travel are coming to Earth as we speak right now. So we're going to be just starting to integrate this, I believe, February, anywhere from January to March 2022. We are integrating the photonic gamma rays of that Cygnus explosion in Alpha Cygnus. Now, I could be wrong about the timings and the schematics of the time. It could be more extended into the future. But these probabilities right now are active in the planetary organic galactic synchronizations of time as we speak. Okay. If this happens fully, if we start to integrate those gamma photonic waves of radial light from Alpha Cygnus, what will happen is we will have 3 days of light consecutively with no nighttime. Okay. No turning off, no darkness. This could potentially happen by July 2022. The last time anything like this has ever happened, okay, in at least the last 6 to 12,000 years of human history, they were writing about it in the book of Genesis, okay, where we had 6 consecutive days of light, okay? Well, there was 7, but not a lot happened on the 7th, okay? The conception and the birth of everything in our universe that was brought forth to the earth was done by the 3rd day of light. So you can imagine the possibilities of 3 straight days of pure light. This may be even more spectacular than that solar flash event, okay? This may be the spark to the golden age that takes us into a higher harmonic universe of existence and creation, eradicating all darkness on the earth, starting with the deepest trenches and canyons on the earth. That is why in this picture here, the wings expand from the Grand Canyon in Arizona all the way to the Mariana Trench. This is where the deepest darkness in the earth resides. This is where the wings of the Swan expand to begin to its touch points from the Grand Canyon to the Mariana Trench. This is where the light will appear for the first time in a long time in those deepest, darkest spaces on the earth. And it's not just the Grand Canyon and the Mariana Trench. It's all deep, dark canyons, all trenches, all volcanic trenches in the spaces in the Pacific Ring of Fire where the Ouroboros of the earth consumes its mass into itself again and again. Okay, that's why the earth's identity is serpent. That's why the original beings from the motherlands of Mu in the Pacific hailed a 7-headed primordial serpent creator god, was because they were in the core of the pit of the identity of the earth where it's consuming itself over and over again. Okay, this is why the identity of the earth is serpent-like in the first place. It's because of that process. And this is where the light from this liquid double diamond integration is going to integrate. It's going to integrate in these deep, dark spaces and bring up and clear everything that we hold here. We hold those deep, dark hybridization traumas in those darkest spaces of the earth, in the Mariana Trench, okay? In the depths of the Pacific. That's why the Cthulhu sits down in the depth of the Pacific, in the deepest, darkest trench, because there is no light. There is no light, and so evil can prevail, and traumas can prevail in those spaces. So we have already been beginning to integrate this from the light of Cygnus, those atomic gamma rays, February, like I said, 2022 to March 2022. If you guys don't believe me, do the research on this, okay? Look up the Cygnus blast, the Cygnus supernova wave. Look up Alex Collier. Alex Collier speaks about this. So the Andromedans know about this too. They know that it takes 2,600 light years of traveling for that light to get to us from Alpha Cygnus, which was the last supernova wave that happened in the 1600s, and possibly another one that occurred even 15,000 years ago. So we will be integrating that light photonic blast, okay? Now, what I think is happening is, and this is my own intuitive speculation, is that Cygnus may be dominating the race morphogenetic field encoding in the precession cycles, at least in the last 26,000 years of precession cycles, even maybe prior to that as well. I think there are different levels of dominating radial diversity that are dominating the core race morphogenetic field encoding. In terms of the indigo templates, Cygnus is dominating that for at least the last 2 precession cycles as the main indigo template in the earth. If it is in fact the main primary system creating the most supernova wave blasts, okay, because there are now going to be 3 incidences. There are 2 stars colliding in Alpha Cygnus. There was a supernova wave blast in the 1600s, and then there was another one, like I said, that occurred 15,000 years ago. So there's 3 different blasts that are coming from the Cygnus systems in 3 different waves. This may be the primary birthing location of stars, given that Cygnus is the only constellation that is within the nanodiamonds of the Milky Way. So stars are being born in that nanodiamond Milky Way. That's what the Milky Way is, okay? It's the birthing place of our world, of our universe, of our Earth. I have also been seeing that it's not just Cygnus, but I do think that the prior precession cycle, that the Pleiadians also may equally or subatomically or subdivisionally were the other light girding intelligence field in that last precession. So the Pleiadians also were a dominant seed race in that race morphogenetic field. The templates may be being designed simply by the wave blast particles and light from the stars being born and colliding in those particular systems according to the precession cycles. Okay, so I know that's kind of a mouthful, and if I'm ever able to create a diagram to exemplify everything I just said, I will be on that. If you're a graphic artist or a graphic designer and you would like to work with me on creating something that explains that, by all means, please message me. But there is also supposed to be, with that other event that's happening in Cygnus, this is one that we may actually be able to see with our own eyes, that one coming up. So the main one at this time may play the most important main role right now in stellar evolution, and that's the collision of those two stars in Alpha Cygnus that may actually even be visible for up to 6 months, they are saying. So the diamond reigns of Cygnus that holds all these indigo records from the primordial cloud, that diamond rain may be what's making this heat for us to thrive, right? Now, it's really interesting. So even if you dive into ancient Egyptian beliefs and ancient Egyptian culture, they believed in death that the soul got pushed to the north. And so they actually aligned all of their like sarcophaguses and like their underground where they kept all of like the dead in the tombs. They aligned the exits out of these tombs to the north. And so the kings and the pharaoh's long descent into the afterlife was aligned to the northern star. It was aligned to Deneb, into the rebirth of the womb of Nut or Nut, which is the ancient goddess of the cosmos, the one that you see stretched all along the Milky Way. She was the Milky Way. That's what she represented. So this is why this is Cygnus. Cygnus is also a representation of those nanodiamonds in the Milky Way. So we should really be integrating those gamma rays by February 2022 to March 2022, and we may experience 3 days of light by July 2022. So there's a lot going on, you guys. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about the hybridization traumas. So in this process of going from the dove to the swan, the hybridization traumas are going to clear. Okay, this is really an important aspect of it. All of this is cataclysmic traumas on repeat and descend from Mu to Lemuria to Atlantis to Tartaria to the Aryan systems. And it's frustrating because these traumas are synced into the collective planetary miasmic fields and cellular cones within and in between organic grid codes. So in the body, it's actually in between this thin layer of matter that actually connects your organs. And this is where this trauma is stalled. So your organic organs may be pumping organic memory to the brain, to the stomach, and then ultimately to the brain, because a lot of these visions and transmissions go from the brain of the stomach first to the fire of God, to the pit of your belly, and it comes as a feeling that emanates the vision. That all of that trauma is stored in between that organic transmission within the vortex structures of the Earth's fields as well. So if you can think of the vortex as like the organs of the Earth, then all of the trauma would be in between those fields. So these were permeated into the landmass encoding through core trigger events, such as the sinking of Mu, Lemuria, nuclear warfare in Lemuria, the gas belt nuclear attack, the Great Deluge, the fall of Atlantis, the fall of the Tower of Babel, the fall of man, the Cthulhu cults down in the Great Pacific, and so on and so on. The hybridization traumas are within the planetary records, but again, like I said, equally within the body, within the genetic memory recall. This right now, according to the Aryan systems, is held within the Metatronic systems, aka code names Yahweh, Cthulhu, Dagon, Baal, El Elyon, Enoch, Azazel. They are all operating as an organized control container and hijacking system for the collective hybridization traumas, creating and programming the clones, the empty seeders, the genetically modified, the Agent Smiths. They're all operating the fallen and control grids. The transformation of this has become, currently, this is transitioning into the metaverse through Facebook, right? Meta meaning death in the Hebrew Bible. So it's just a way to transform the continuation of those Metatronic control matrices and structures by emanating false realities, false illusions of love frequencies to hold souls in containers, in control systems. That's what they are. They're containers of the soul. Okay. All of this original Dark Brotherhood takeover was here in Lemuria. And so this is where the hybridization traumas originated, was in Lemuria. And this is kind of the great illusion, is because many that are, I guess, birthing consciousness in the Aryan systems and haven't seen beyond this yet, feel that it came from Atlantis because they can only kind of see into the previous root race. But really, these hybridization traumas originated from Lemuria. This is when the forced breeding programs began, the sterilization began, the tearing apart of the fifth dimensional souls, where the twin flames were split apart, and ultimately the most severe traumas, which I think has dominated all of them, which we don't really talk about, is the division of the sexes. This was where the 144,000 were originally displaced. Okay, it came through raping and mass cleansing of the matriarchal tribal natives, the descendants of Mu, the demonization of the serpent cults that plagued the earth. This is why I keep saying over and over that Lemuria's history must be known at this time. It is our birthright to have this information so that way we can heal the earth, heal the grids, heal the planet, heal each other. Transform this memory, transform this timeline activated within us. Those of us who carry the ability to integrate it, we need to have it. It is really vital in our next phase of our global and spiritual healing and transformation, which must be reconnected to the land of Mu, to the future prophecy of the new Lemurian timeline, to salvage the diabolical digression that has been placed on our feminine God technology on this earth. So much was destroyed, lost, hidden, demonized, oppressed at this time. So much that continues to contribute to the deep soul fragmentations of soul groups and eternal and immortal wisdom, and withholding of this knowledge to the hybrid children. So what I see is we seem to be in a constant state of trying to purge the artificial 3D and 4D timelines. Okay, everything that you hear about, all the BS with the GF, all of the BS with the Ashtar command, all of the drama, human drama that's incepted itself into the galactic matrix systems. Okay, all of this is artificial 3D and 4D timelines. That's all it is. Okay, everything's stuck in a loop cycle, in an AI singularity vortex, in a polarity timeline, running the release and reactivate of the dark occult webs, Saturn matrices, planetary branding, the draconic and Anunnaki hybrid systems, and the need to remove of the clones and the rehabilitation of the alien hybridization traumas, essentially. So with the true expansion and release of the hijacking of the dove grid, the purity and the liberation of the white ray, a planetary global light grid matrix can and will upgrade, particularly with the assistance of that 3 days of light that is coming. All darkness here could be fully obliterated in that. And that's what this Swan grid will be the full illumination of, is the full trauma clearing and release of the hijacking of the dove, and the evolution and the expansion of the swan will consist of, okay, the entire collective awakening from dark alien hybridization. This is the source of our spiritual oppression. This is why it's so important for us to know this. What will be being cleared is all intergenerational collective cultural trauma. This will be cleared. This is what causes the abusers. This is what causes the abused to become the abusers and repeat those cycles. So this will clear the slavery traumas and trades. Particularly, this will have deep integration in bloody grids. Okay, I call bloody grids all grids on the earth that are in hardcore dissension cycles. So where I'm living here, down here in the South, it's holding all of the slavery traumas. Okay, this will get a major clearing. All of the penile grids down in Australia, this will get a major clearing. All of the Middle East, Iran, all of the warfare get a major clearing. All of the World War III templates that are running in Germany and in Poland, also over to Kazakhstan with Russia, all of the war-generated templates will get a clearing, okay? It will come in, will clear all of the areas where the most forced breeding traumas had occurred from those slavery traumas. The slavery traumas are the gateway traumas to the forced breeding traumas. Okay, so if the traumas are kind of like a gateway drug, basically those slavery traumas are the gateway to the forced breeding traumas, because all of that came through slavery, essentially. Earthbound slavery, galactic slavery, and intergalactic slavery, all of this would be cleared through the upgrade of the Swan template. All of the hybrid pain bodies would be cleared. So the Zeta hybrids, the Gray hybrids, the Draco hybrids, the Anunnaki hybrids, the Nephilim hybrids, which is the entire Earth collective. Okay, denial of your hybridization is a part of the problem. That's going to be cleared. Cannibalism and vampiric traumas will be cleared. Zygote creation, code cracking, and gene editing traumas will be cleared. Stolen, replicated, or damaged genetics will be cleared. Human and animal cloning traumas will be cleared. Cetacean, whale, and dolphin traumas. The 6th and 7th dimensional planetary seals will be cleared. So this means that everyone who's suffering from the cutting off of the angel wings, the fallen angelic traumas, this will be cleared. All of the 7th and 10th dimensional stigmata wounds of Christ, crucifixion, and persecution traumas will be cleared. All of the Templar soul stealing and capsules, okay, all of the Baphomet and monetary, Federal Reserve, and indoctrination lab traumas, those will be cleared. All of the dead light in the earth field will be cleared. All of the miasmic in between those gate systems will be cleared. Everything that's going on in the body with the hypothalamus, the pineal, the adrenal attacks, the 10th vagus nerve attacks and damage, all of that will be cleared. Mental and emotional body fragmentation, splitters, and soul exits will be cleared. Fear, seed implants, and DNA distortions will be cleared. The draconic seals and implants will be cleared. Anunnaki seals and implants will be cleared. And also Lemurian seals and implants will be cleared as well. That's something that I also want to continue to work on, to identify more of that. All of the alien locator tags and alien implants will be cleared. Implanted sexual misery programs will be cleared. So this is the implanted sadistic or masochistic sexual fetishes, sexual addictions and abductions, sexual war traumas, and gender war traumas will be cleared, including artificial womb trauma. That will be cleared. All of the breeder tags, cattle tags, okay, on humanity will be cleared. And oh my gosh, I was just reading something about those breeder tags. It came through Klaus Schwab's. If you have a chance to look at Klaus Schwab's fourth industrial revelational book that he wrote, he put at least 4 billion useless eaters shall be eliminated by the year 2050 by means of limited wars, organized epidemics of fatal rapid acting diseases and starvation. Energy, food, and water shall be kept at substance levels for the non-elite, starting with the white populations of Western Europe and North America, and then spreading to other races. The population of Canada, Western Europe, and the United States will be decimated more rapidly than any other continents until the world's population reaches a manageable level of 1 billion, of which 500 million will consist of Chinese and Japanese races selected intentionally because they are people who have been regimented for centuries and who are accustomed to obeying authority without question. So that's what I'm talking about. That energy will be cleared, okay? And they tag the people that they're trying to eliminate, okay? Those traumas of those tags will be cleared. So that's going to continue to extend on. All of the torturing of the hybrid children, trafficking and traumas, that will be cleared. And that's what will be cleared by this dove breaking free of those J seals, okay? This will be the most massive healing the earth has ever seen, and the swan obliterates it by clearing the patriarchal demon seeds from that north horizontal ley line. That's why the wings actually extend along that ley line. As a human collective, we are completely awakening out of a dark era of alien hybridization, which is the primary reason for the imprisonment of our consciousness and the source of our spiritual oppression. So this swan grid expanding is going to obliterate all of those things. And like I said, guys, it's going to expand from that planetary Cygnus cross, running the freedom codes through that north horizontal ley line. And a lot of things will activate when this comes, when this fully manifests itself. I can already see this grid. I personally am already holding this grid inside of me. I've already received the codes. That's why I'm able to talk about it. This also is going to activate a lot of other ley lines. So the entire Archangel Michael collective will come online. The expansion of the Swan will activate the Archangel Michael ley line. It will activate the Isis temples in France. So this will be a major Isis activation. Everything that's happening between Norway, and Finland, and France, you can see that I have those highlighted in pink here in the map. These are the Cygnusian countries ruled by the Swan. So these will be the countries that will lead by example the most when it comes to the height of this energy globally. And like I said, it's going to also activate the Temple Mount in Jerusalem at the Golden Gate. And so, yeah, guys, so much is going on right now with this light matrix. It's a total reconfiguration of light, and this is what we're heading into, essentially. So we have a lot to look forward to. I've been working on this update for you guys for the last week, and I hope that you enjoyed this update today. I have so much more that I want to bring forward for you guys, but as you guys know, it is a process of putting all of this information together. It's just so much to explain when we start really diving into the complexity of it. And I know you guys can see now how complex it really is. I just want to say too, for those of you that may feel frustrated with my content, with the level of vocabulary usage, I have had some people express this to me, and I just want you to know that I don't have a lot of time to go back and teach the basics. So what I'm teaching from here is advanced ascension mechanics, advanced planetary grid and gatekeeper mechanics and sciences. So if you just start watching the videos, go back and watch. You know, I have an extensive library of content, of references, of all kinds of different places you can start sourcing the information to basically upgrade your consciousness. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to focus on increasing your vocabulary and your understanding of this to understand what is being, taught here. And this in turn will expand your consciousness and activate dormant portions of your light body field, bringing forth the planetary Akashic memory field within you to upgrade to these systems and templates that are running. And so, I was guided by higher intellectual sources, by the Lyrans themselves, to speak this way and speak encoded in this way to assist with upgrading these light matrices within your template when you hear the messages. So it is strategic and it is intentional to bring you guys up to this level. So everything that I speak is light encoded. Everything that I speak is an activation in itself and is designed this way to upgrade you intentionally. So just know that if you keep watching the videos, you will continue to get the upgrades and you will continue to understand more and more and more as you listen. I usually hear from people after about maybe they've been watching for 3 to 6 months. They say, I went from understanding maybe 20 to 30% of what you're talking about to now understanding 50 to 70% of everything you're talking about. So it just takes time and you just have to have patience with it if you feel you're aligned to this. So just hang in there, and I love you all so much. You all are amazing. You all are divine and beautiful. And yeah, guys, so you can find me at indigoangel222.com. You can find more of my group grid work sessions and techniques and spiritual biohacking that I have used over the last 4 years. You can find a lot of these videos on my Patreon, patreon.com/indigoangel. And yeah, guys, so thank you so much, and I will see you on the next video.